You know something funny? Oblivion and Skyrim are both very violent games. You take swords and other dangerous tools, beat enemies into submission, there is blood everywhere, sometimes head rolls, and these sort of things are dear overlords that YouTube really does not like. And it is a very fast way for videos to lose monetization, or more commonly, be hidden in restricted mode. So to appease our dear algorithm overlords, and to be a good person for once, today I will beat Oblivion Remastered without attacking anything. I initially did a poll to determine between Skyrim and Oblivion I should do this challenge with, and at the time of starting recording, Oblivion was winning, though since then Skyrim took it over. Note to self, Orph, please stop recording so darn far in advance. So for the rules of the run, I am not allowed to do that K-word that media platforms tend to not like, and I'm also not allowed to directly harm anyone. Namely, I'll have to keep people deleted directly with my intervention to 0, and assaults too. No melee, archery, or damaging spells are allowed, but this is me we're talking about. There are probably 4 loopholes for me to take advantage of. So yeah, nothing else for the run. I will be doing some exploits this run, so if you dislike such sacrilegious acts, you know where the dislike button is. But be sure to subscribe in the process so you can be the first to leave helpful spite in the comments. So with that out of the way, how much of a good boy can I be against my primal urges, especially with the Vigilantes of Stendarr? Let's find out. Starting up the character creator, I'm going to be with the Breton today. A more defensive playstyle will be the name of the game, given my pacifist restrictions and such. Plus, I'll need the additional magicka for my plans later down the line. While I cannot cause any direct harm, just taking a glancing glimpse of my face will do all the psychological damage instead. I took some unhelpful criticism from my cellmate and had a nice conversation with Jean-Luc Pitcher. Given I play the intro without attacking things anyway, this plays out as normal, except of course we can't have anything nasty, or else the YouTube AI bot will throw a tantrum. When the rodents of a slightly unusual size come out of the walls, I make a break for it, and playing things pretty casually at this point. Though at one point I do sneak up behind a pretty unalert troll, probably didn't get the news their favorite target made new content, so is vibing about their day. Since I'm such a nice individual, I make sure I disarm any traps so the goblins can continue their meager existences. I also take the time to grind lockpicking to 50. I really suck at lockpicking in this game, and I have a few hard locks I will need to pick, so better safe than sorry. I make sure no wood falls down the hill, sending a pack to their final destination, Fate. And before long, I'm reuniting with the crew of a relevant sci-fi spaceship, as I continue to be such a help with the would-be assailants. When it comes to picking a birth sign, I pick the Lord. I am a good little Christian boy, barring what happens in 90% of challenge runs. In fact, I am such a good little Christian boy, I actually once had a Swedish Bible from the late 1800s in my collection at one point. No idea where it went, it has been many years. Oh yeah, back to the task at hand. Despite the Blades wanting me to help with the protection of the Emperor, truth be told, I don't give a flying wait a minute. I have since been told that swearing isn't a nice thing. Though you can say the F word occasionally if the bots don't pay attention. Okay, being hypersensitive this run. Got it. I don't give a flying duck about helping out, so I just sit this one out. Eventually I have a nice conversation with one of the few unique voice actors in the game, only to be cut short by some donkey who wanted to give Scotty a neck massage. Eventually Boris was able to permanently subdue the perpetrator, and I get to pick my class. Given I can't do any attacking this run, that really cuts out most of my options, so I just do a hodgepodge of some generic skills, and before long I'm free of the very action-packed tutorial, ready to break the game. And just like any adventurer who wishes to break the game ASAP, I make a beeline to the big old tower in the sky, taking a quick nap time to level up. After failing to open the door because I have no patience to do this lockpicking game, I get the book, then travel to the Imperial Market, ready to make a fun video about the impending doom of the current economic situation and raking in on all the big boy ad revenue from the elite advertisers. Who wants to waste money on the oversaturated gaming genre anyways? Stupid shiv out of the way, I dupe some scrolls and turn the scrolls into scented candles to break the game, and also using my excess funds to buy a couple of spells which will be very useful very soon. Since at some point I want to do an all skills to 100 run in Oblivion, I get acquainted to the early game grind of grinding restoration to 100. You will see why I focus on the best skill in Oblivion first thing soon enough. After about 15 minutes of waiting through loading screens, padded out to 30 minutes with mid-roll time slots automatically inserted by YouTube, fraught with gambling ads, duck MGM to ducking hell, I make it to restoration 100. Now I can get the show on the road. But before becoming eventual road meals for scavengers and rednecks, I will want a very specific spell for crafting. You know that funny little thing that happens when you look for something and it turns out it is in the very last possible place it could be? I visited every Magus Guild and magic shop looking for a Fortify attribute spell, only for the shop in not Skyrim to have it. My last place I have left. Yeah. Also later on in the recording, I realized I could have just gone to my scented candle shop and got the spells there. Sometimes I question my sanity. When I returned to the tower to break the game, but when I got there, I had a suspicious individual trying to tell their viewers to like, comment, subscribe, pay for memberships, Patreon, join their 40 social media accounts, buy from their exclusive shop they probably just generated, and other bloated nonsense. What a ducking blunt. I had to walk my way to Bruma just so I can have a guard tell the zealous influencer to calm down. This is a public space. There is no need to do stupid shit for clout. Okay, back to breaking the game. I spend the time crafting a couple Fortify attribute spells. So the funny part about Oblivion is spell stacking. You can stack spells of the same effect over and over, so long as the spells are called different things. You can repeatedly cast spells over and over and reach silly numbers. For this run, I won't be getting too in depth with this, but just know, you can do some funny things. I just craft Fortify Speed and Fortify Strength. It'll be useful later. Maybe. Hopefully. And the very last thing for my adventures and setup, being a dirty rotten cheater, and I'm duping some chameleon potions and some healing potions. A bit of spoilers, but I rarely use either, with the chameleon more so to help with the fight much later on. With my hyper extended prep time that ended up being a quarter of the run altogether, I arrived at the Priory to tell Joffrey the bad news that the Emperor's game data has been deleted from the world, and now it is time to find a worthy substitute. I travel to Kavach and I'm told the town is besieged by AI bots. Running up the hill, I use my Neom spell, and yeah, I am quite literally speedrunning the game at this point. I offer to help with the situation by jumping into the nearby Heck Gate. Funny thing about Bethesda games, if you avoid all combat encounters, the dungeon runtime is heavily deflated. What is normally the second longest Oblivion Gate is about the length of a normal one for me. At this point, a lot of Oblivion pacifist runs run into an issue with the Sigil Keeper. As I discovered in my next challenge run that is coming out in a couple weeks because the concept of time is a very funny thing and the only reason I rush to get this out is to tell the AI bots of YouTube, stop destroying us for AI slop wannabes, in a timely fashion. Oh yeah, tangent aside, I just pickpocketed the Dremora for the key and just walked out. Sometimes the solution to problems is sometimes the easiest. Got a garbage problem? Just dump it on a neighbor's lawn you hate in the middle of the night. The rest of the gate was a quick in and out. I spent the time to save scum at the Sigil Stone. I wanted Fortify Magicka, but I'll take willpower. With the portal of Dangnation closed, now comes the liberation of the town. Except, of course, I can't do anything given my no raised fist restrictions. I talked to Mr. Bean, and since it's been quite a while, I figured I could help out with the liberation of the town. By help, I mean doing absolutely nothing. I talked to Belric to start the detour, and oh dear God, all this violence! Please, why won't anyone think of the advertisers? Oh yeah, children too, given the advent of restrictions being more restricted. In fact, if you look at my channel in restricted mode, you would think I stopped making videos back in early 2024 when I retired from Let's Plays. Or these challenge runs are a figment of your imagination. The rest of the Toppled Streets went by alright. I found some yarn, and given I'll be doing Sheogorath's quest, I'll take this helpful boon. Inside the castle, hopefully you two won't mind these flame atronarchs. Everyone seems to think they are hot. Yeah, they are hot. As in, on fire. My party isn't doing too hot with the upgraded mooks, so I decided to duck it. I just sprinted on ahead and rescued the ring from the Count who is counting sheep and fell in some ketchup packets. Yeah, let's just keep it at that. And before long the day is saved, or what little is left, and I return to the Priory to find out the Mythic Dawn is besieging it. I do make for a nice distraction my friends clean up. I was worried with Joffrey since in the church he is non-essential, but we are just Giga Chad champs, and come out on top. Only to find out the amulet has been purloined, and now the rest of the game must be padded out. Martin wants to be escorted to Cloud Ruler Temple. Sure, a little to the southwest, so instead we arrived at Miskarken. I am abhorrent with directions. The dungeon isn't actually that long thankfully, especially when you know where the buttons are. I grabbed the Great Shard and awoken the king. Well sure, the game expects you to fight the king and take his key, but you see, the AI overlords don't take too kindly and will heavily restrict anything that goes against corporate interests that social medias must adhere to get the full advertiser money for the holiday season. So I just ignored the king, picked the nearby lock, and made my escape out of the dungeon. Before long, everyone is at the right place. I attend the speech from a high up location, and next up comes some Imperial City nonsense. But before then, I figure some more prep work is in order, given I have 2 gargantuan roadblocks coming up soon enough and also to pad out the time because, truth be told, we're going to be flying through the game. The first step is going to be a weird one that might prove essential soon enough. So I do the most logical thing that comes to my small mind. Grind Illusion to 50. Funny how earlier this year I made fun of Illusion, and now it is being used in the second run, but I have more nefarious plans for it in a later run. After about 10 minutes of farming, I got Illusion to 50, which happens to be the level I want for the run. After the guards are inspired to protect the Emperor's hair so nothing bad happens to him, and creating some totally amazing characters like Delphine down the line, I travel to Brazil to get some Fury spells, which I create a very specific spell for a very specific individual. I also make the funny hood of fire that in the original made for a very effective way of disposing individuals, but it won't be useful for this run. With the distractions done, I can now focus on completing the game in a quick-like manner so the TikTok crowd doesn't lose attention since the video is 1,000 times longer than their normal levels of consumption, and really the focus of YouTube these days. I travel to the Imperial City and be a very effective thief at not so quite legally obtaining his book, which is enough for everyone to have an honorable duel in the card game, or something. The guards aren't very happy with my illicit behavior and arrest me. When I was let out of jail, the King of Miskarkin followed me and wants his mood crystal back. Well, the guards do their jobs for me, and I'm back to doing some book shopping before the local bookstores get shut down in favor for the online monopolies. Inside the sewers, I was tempted to write some toilet humor jokes, but then I remembered if I do that, several commentators will also write some immature comments, and the YouTube AI will flag these commenters as under 18 and put them in restricted mode unless they prove they are over 18 by giving out personal information for more data harvesting. I feel so sorry for YouTubers with a very heavy Minecraft and Fortnite audience. After a boring autoscroller where I don't do much of anything, I demand I be the one on the hot seat, and instead of doing the initiation, I just take Revan's book from him, in a legal manner. And no one has to get hurt. Just my feelings that I can't do funny business with the other ducking vigilantes of Stendar. I finished up the mission by touching the funny stone to get the GPS location of the totally safe spot I found on Craigslist. I mentioned Craigslist so anyone who knows what Craigslist is will definitely be old enough for this video, and I began my hike there. Besides being hounded by a hound, there wasn't much to note, and soon enough I'm inside the cavern. The guests of the party ask that I give all my worldly possessions, and given I don't have any way to get them back, I just sprint through the cavern. I have some sugar, yeah, let's call it sugar, and no one could even come close to stopping me. I ingested some chameleon potions just to see if anything happens when I get to Mankar. Sadly, I can't pick his pockets. Oh well. I grabbed the dangerous book that has sigils to subscribe, and I sprinted my way out of this dungeon. Next up, wanting to cut down on backtracking, I backtracked to the Imperial City to do some grocery shopping, since I am going to do Sheogora's quest next. Well, besides being interrupted for the midnight release of some relevant game. Sure, Sheo is hanging out in a remote location. Counterpoint. I am Speed. I talk to myself, and all I need to do is incite the apocalypse. Sure beats the real world right now. As a ritual to madness, I lead the bandit around in a circle, then I arrived at Overwatch. Thankfully this quest is very quick. I just stole some cheese by hiding behind a pillar. Don't question Bethesda logic. Todd works in ways only we mortals can only hope to fathom someday. And then I sliced the cheese. The shard was enough to attract rodents to my restaurant, and to protect the shape, I put the fun substance in the hay trough to hopefully deter a rodent infestation. It, doesn't go well. But to be honest, I know all the sheep didn't eat the danger sugar, so we will chalk it up to sudden heart attack syndrome. It is raining good boys, and the most fitting end to a madman's quest is a bunch of bad men attacking a bush. The next mission is ratting out some spies, which is easily done by doing the simple action of letting guards unalive the agents. I sneak into the basement to grab the squirrel Zoomer lingo. 3/4 of it I don't understand, and I was born at the threshold of millennial and Zoomer. Easy mission is easy enough, and now comes the long boring escort mission of protecting the guards as I give a helpful tutorial on how to close Oblivion gates. These tutorials are in demand with the algorithm, and they have a high searchability, yet the views are drastically down. Like for the several months, I will join the piles of YouTuber complaining views are down, meanwhile all the relevant metrics are still the same. The Bruma watch at this point started to get annoyed at my voice. I'm sorry, speech impediments with a funny voice box is not fun, okay? Well, I could always use a voice that is using at least 4,000 channels at the moment. Wait, hold on. 4,100 channels, as 100 new AI slop channels have opened up today alone to replace human-created content with cheap slop that the algorithm seems to love these days. Way to ruin the motivation, guys. Well, the Bruma guards got jelly legs during the excursion, and really there wasn't much to note for the climb, given I can't do much. I grabbed the shiny orb, which I was going to save scum from more magicka, but Chameleon is too fun to pass up. Oh well, the day is saved from the portal to Heck, and just 3 missions left. Just how long are these missions? Oh yeah, I should mention I'm about halfway through recording the run. I am desperate for more magicka to my name, so I thrusted myself into the first Heck portal I could find, and I don't spend long inside the tower. I just spent all my time save scumming at the gotcha ball, hoping for the secret ultra hyper nebulous EX Plus rainbow rare that is 1 in 10 million, marketed towards kids, and is totally not gambling. Funny how in at least Iowa the age to be able to purchase scratch tickets is 21, yet T-rated games let you gamble real-world money for cosmetics and sometimes pay to win. And it helps that gambling ads pay out big bucks to hopefully get more desperate addicts onto their shivvy sites. After about 5 minutes, I get the fortified magicka item I've been wishing for all this run, which I duped and put on every item I have. I'm going to need this for what's to come. Oh yeah, when I went to the Imperial City for a ring, I had another Mythic Dawn assailant come after me. Public spaces are not the best place to settle disputes. Take it to court or smash. Or both before the hearing. Trust me, the jury will be out on that one. For those who have watched Oblivion Pacifist challenge runs before, you all know what's next. Sacred Torna. AKA, one of the 2 absolutely mandatory combat encounters. You need to defeat 4 skeletons to lower the barrier, and in the remaster, you can't just bypass the barrier, so I'm going to have to defeat the skeletons somehow. At first I tried to enrage the enemies of the dungeon, so they can settle their disputes from the afterlife to the afterlife, but nope, they're immune. So instead of doing things the easy ways, I have to do things the hard way, by having the ghost land their ranged attacks on the unalived blades. It took 8 ducking shivvy donkey rear minutes for the first skeleton. And at this point, I'm about to pour me a glass of Drano. The second skeleton was at least humorous in the fact Valdemar already spawned in the world, and every undead in the tomb aggroed onto Valdemar. Valdemar is a coward and would not fight back. At least the ghost could do pot shots on the skeleton, but after about 13 minutes or so, Valdemar fell down and I could loot his body. I didn't even know he could be defeated. The game didn't take too kindly to Schrodinger's paradox, so the game both exists and doesn't exist, and we don't know unless we take a look at the state of the game crash box. At least once a skeleton bit the dust, the correct Valdemar could spawn. I have been in this Hemagen tomb for close to an hour at this point, or so it feels, and I still have 2 skeletons left. The logical thing would be take out 1 guardian at a time. But given my brain is the size of a peanut, Rimworld, I figure I could take on the 2 skeletons at once. The final encounter didn't take nearly as long, mostly with the help of a firing squad and a high acrobatics. It took just about 20 minutes, but before long, the last of the guardians have been freed from this mortal coil, and I could enter the central chamber to grab the plot armor, and at this point, I am ready to be done with this run. But before then, I have one final obstacle to get past, the one that most challenge runners fail at. And that, of course, is being decisive on when the prep work portion of the challenge run is done. I have to make sure for the next fight, Martin doesn't end up face first in the dirt, coughing up his own expired ketchup, so I just crafted a healing spell for others. I told the ogre wife I have everything under control, and began the big battle. Really the only thing I need to be sure on is that I kept Martin topped up. Oh yeah, YouTube isn't going to like the carnage, so to spare the algorithm all the chaos, I will enjoy looking at this endangered flower. Ooh, look at that photosynthesis. Once the ultimate heck opened up, I sprinted on inside, and what is normally a quick in and out mission is even faster than usual. I can use my sonic speeds and high jumping capabilities to just skip everything. There wasn't much to be said, and things go swimmingly. The locks are picked, the orbs are grabbed, and the day is saved. And all that remains is paradise. I am not looking forward to what's to come. I told Martin I am ready to suffer, so I'm let inside the mind of a self-deprecating madman. Not just me. Since I cannot engage in combat, I have to do the doorkeep's errand, and that being letting an ancient evil out of his cage. This is the first time I've ever done the quest this way. I sure hope everything turns out alright. Ooh. As for the insides, I just avoid everything since I cannot fight, and I go along with Elder Emil's plans on getting hot-footed. I nearly shaved my pants getting that close to lava. Eventually I get the band of "I don't want to be here right now" torn off after helping my jailbreak fend off any followers, and the rest of the interior went by really quickly, and before long I'm at Mankar, the roadblock that chokes up a lot of pacifist runs, and during the pre-battle speech, the Zivolai from the cavern followed us in. I was hoping this would actually skip the hard part of the battle. Nope. So my plan A, which actually works out alright, is a Fury spell. I was hoping to have all the children turn on Mankar, which didn't work out. But what did work out was that the Dermora Mankar loves to summon turned on the children. so one of the distractions was effectively dealt with. With the next part of my plan, I had Eldamil take pot shots at Mankar with his knife, which I buffed with Fortified Agility. Well, Eldamil is about as useful as using a toothbrush for cleaning a car, and Mankar's Reflect ended up taking Eldamil out a few times, but meh. Since this battle went on for a long time, Mankar ran out of juice, and has next to no charges to his staff, and before long transitioned to using his fists. So at this point, I just waited for the summon to come out, and I popped some chameleon potions to trick the AI. It went okay, but not how I wanted it to. The winning play is honestly the stupidest. I jumped on a chandelier, and the magically exhausted group just stood there not being able to do anything. Eldamil came back for round 62, and did the final helpful nudges pushing Mankar off the ledge to his demise. The part that dumbfounded me, besides my luck is so low it occasionally overflows for this fight, never once did Mankar heal. I will take these wins where I can. I got the amulet, gave it to the Mean Bean machine, and watched the coronation get cut short. The final mission is super short after the welcoming party is taken care of. I sprinted through the streets, entered the Temple of the One, where I had to wait for Martin to show up since I'm a little too quick on the draw. Martin told Dagon to Dragon D's almonds, and by some miracle, and more importantly, resisting my bloodthirsty tendencies, I have somehow successfully beat Oblivion Remastered without attacking anything. That was something. The run is possible, but there is a difference between whether you could do something and whether you should do something. Sure, you could subject yourself to beating Sacred Torah's Just Ghost, or you could always just give yourself a vasectomy with a chainsaw, and now the video is restricted. I can't help it! I'm a psychopath by trade! Yeah, Sacred Torah was not fun at all, along with Mankar, but at least I had to think slightly outside the box. At least this run was on the shorter side of things, since I have a lot of longer runs coming out soon enough. I don't have much else to say, except a special thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members who have taken a path of non-violence and coexist with my bullshit. Links as usual, including my socials, in the description. Hope you enjoyed this run. If you did, be sure to drop a like, subscribe for more masochism, and any other ways to torture myself, leave them down below. This has been Orpheolus, and I'll see you all in the next one.